Playing NES Tetris without rotating the pieces has long been considered an amusing novelty, as it was never expected that you could get very far. That is, until recently. This is the story of a record that stayed dormant for months, years, possibly even decades, until it was suddenly beaten multiple times by players nobody expected. I'll be interviewing several of the world record holders along the way. So, let's get started. The story begins with Ben Mullen. At the 2010 Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Ben won a Tetris tournament that featured a surprise rule in the finals where piece rotations were not allowed. He managed to clear 6 lines. When I reached out to Ben last month to ask what his personal best for no rotation was, he told me he actually had a note that he got 25 lines back in the 90s, but unfortunately he didn't have a video, so he didn't want to claim it as a world record until it was matched or broken. And until quite recently, that would have been the world record. There wasn't a single prominent mention of a no rotation achievement for many years, outside of Ben Mullen's game being mentioned at the beginning of the documentary Ecstasy of Order. And when you try to play in this mode, it's not hard to see why. The pieces spawn horizontally, meaning the maximum amount of lines you can clear at once is 2. The long bar, normally the most important piece used for Tetrises, is demoted to pretty much the least helpful piece, wreaking havoc on boards that can't accommodate it cleanly. The strategic gambling nature of the game is turned up to 11, with the player constantly handling extremely vulnerable piece dependencies. So let's fast forward 9 years. By 2019, NES Tetris had become a phenomenon due to the viral success of the World Championships on YouTube. A new generation of players had appeared, populating Twitch and Discord. The first person mentioned to do no rotation games is a player with a screen name Doggo Doggo Woof Woof from Finland, who tried doing them starting from level 19. I guess the attitude was, hey, this challenge is already sort of weird and hard, why not make it even harder by starting on the highest level possible? Unfortunately, all of Doggo's online profiles have been removed, and no trace of his no rotation games remain. But one day shortly afterwards, a bunch of players, including 3 who went by screen names Coffee, Hydrant Dude, and Blank, challenged each other to try and do no rotation games on the Classic Tetris Monthly Discord's main voice chat. As far as can be remembered, the games were pretty casual. A couple players got a handful of lines on level 18 starts, but afterwards, Blank was inspired to try and shoot for even more lines by starting on a lower level. And on October 7th, 2019, the first no rotation personal best appeared on the Discord, when Blank posted a screenshot of 16 lines from a level 0 start. When Hydrant Dude mentioned that this had to be better than his level 19 no-ro personal best, Blank wondered if this might be the world record. An hour later, he followed up with a full video of 17 lines, and a mini race was on. Hydrant Dude responded another hour later with a 21 lines video. Some players speculated that this record might be just all luck-based, and Hydrant responded that it only took him a few attempts, so probably not. But then, aside from a 24-line game that didn't count because it was accidentally played on a modded version, Hydrant couldn't make any more progress on his world record. Maybe he had gotten lucky at first, and this record wasn't as easy as initially thought. Blank also tried more no-rotation games, but although he slightly increased his personal best to 19 lines, neither he nor anybody else could break Hydrant's mark. But on October 10th, Coffee finally broke through, getting 24 lines legitimately and setting what seemed to be the definitive world record. Blank remarked in amazement that Coffee had gotten 4 lines into the no-row kill screen, aka level 2. And I gotta say, Coffee's video title and thumbnail are top-notch. He's well on his way to becoming a professional YouTuber. Over the next few days, Coffee did some runs on 18 and 19, but activity with the overall lines world record seemed to dissipate, and things would settle with Coffee as the undisputed no-row champion for quite some time. 7 months later, in May of 2020, Tavern of Hearts scored 24 lines as well, but she wouldn't even realize it was a tied world record until the category got mentioned on Discord again a few weeks later. And then, on August 9th, 2020, I had started making weekly videos about NES Tetris and was looking for video topics. I asked publicly on the Discord what the world record was and was pointed to Coffee, so I set up an interview with him on strategies for no rotation. I remembered Ben Mullen's game from the documentary, so I reached out to him and found his historical personal best. And finally, I live streamed myself attempting to get the no rotation world record. I only ended up getting 15 lines, but it helped me get hands-on experience in understanding the playstyle. And it seems that by public publicly chattering about this record, I inadvertently set off something. The next day, I was frantically trying to edit the video to get it up on time when Coffee reached out to me to tell me that another player, Spraggett Wang, had just gotten 24 lines himself and made the world record a 3-way tie. And it wasn't until right after I uploaded the video that I learned that another player, Kirby703, had also claimed to tie the record earlier that day. Just when I thought things couldn't get crazier, a mere 2 hours after I uploaded my video, I received this comment. "Hi, I'm a big fan of your channel. I love all your Tetris content. I watched this video and then decided to try this out myself, and I think I might have broken the world record at 26 lines." Sure enough, the 4-way tie had been broken, and surprisingly, it had come from a completely unknown player. She'd never played in any competitive matches, had never posted anything on the Tetris Discords, and didn't have any other Tetris videos on her YouTube channel. So I reached out to find out more about this record-setting player. So how did you originally get into NES Tetris?
Winter of 2018, I was studying for midterms, took a break, and then somehow I ended up watching hours of the CTWC finals from 2018.
So it just came up in your recommended, you clicked on a video and then got sucked in?
Yep. It was funny because I had a math final the day after, and it was supposed to be just a 15-minute break, but it definitely wasn't after that.
So how long have you been playing, and what is your personal best?
I've been playing since maybe like early 2019. My current personal best is 584k on a level 18 start.
How long did it take you to get that 26 lines game?
Honestly, it wasn't that long. I think I was trying it for like an hour or so, kept getting like 10, 15 lines. After an hour, I just got a really lucky seed, and I looked at the line count and I was like, whoa, that looks like a world record.
So were there any particular strategies that you were kind of having in mind that you were using?
I remembered from your interview with the previous holder that avoiding 3-wide wells was definitely part of it, but I also found that 3-wide 2-deep wells are nice since they can fit LJ and T pieces. The space they leave behind after you skim that line is not a bad shape for your stack.
But as it turns out, the no rotation world records were just getting started. The very next day, Zoltan, another player no one had known about, responded to Hannah's comment, linking another 26 lines no rotation game. And at the beginning of his game, something pretty special happened to boot.
Perfect clear nature, ragazzi! Ma ezt mondom, hogy mekkora favorable RNG. Yes! Yes! Heck yes!
Over on the Discord, Poet13, a prominent player from Germany, had said that he also got 26 lines, but that he wouldn't upload his game. When I asked him why, he responded, "It looks like somebody already got more." Incredibly, in Poet's video, it appeared that he got his 26 lines game, tying the world record, and then in the very next game, broke it with 27 lines.
27! Oh, yeah, new world record.
Hydrant Dude claimed in response that he would get 30 lines, and various people chimed in with claims of their own. But now the pressure was on. Who would be the first to break 30 lines? A few hours later, Zoltan struck back again with a 27 lines video of his own. 3 minutes later, Hydrant Dude uploaded a video of himself getting 27 lines with enough space at the top of his board to seemingly get more, but ended up topping out and he had to settle for another world record tie. The next day, Kirby703 uploaded her own 27 lines game to bring the record up to a 4-way tie again. And amazingly, she had also set a world record by getting 15 lines from a level 19 start. I reached out to her to ask her about how she'd been able to do that.
What was it like going for that? Because level 19 is a pretty intense speed even for playing normally.
Well, I'm pretty good at NES Tetris. You know, a max out player, but not like one of the best in the world. So I'm familiar with level 19 speeds. I've practiced dash and quick taps. I can get things where they need to go until I hit a certain height. I think the saying goes, it took about 20 minutes. I really did just put a few attempts at it. I hit 15 lines. Tried it for like an hour later, couldn't even crack 12.
The other reason I had reached out to Kirby was because of her accomplishments in more modern guideline versions of Tetris. In my previous No-Ro video, I had talked about how in guideline, it's impossible to deal with garbage without rotating.
L's, J's, and T pieces all spawn upside down in guideline if you're an NES player. So they're flat on the bottom. You can't fill a one-wide garbage hole.
But in modes that don't have it, surviving for an extended amount of time might be possible, and Kirby had demonstrated just that by completing an entire 40-line sprint.
That would be my claim to fame for no rotation. As far as I know, I was the first to do it, but then I found out Reviclia did it too. I don't think either of us knew about each other's runs, but we both did a 40 line. I think the strategy is just to be thinking as far ahead as you can so that you get a board that is likely to work with future bags.
But as it turns out, Kirby also had a far more ambitious goal in mind.
I'm working on proving that you can go forever, that you can clear an infinite number of lines. Because with NES, it's easy. Maybe you'll just get squares forever. Place 5 squares, clear 2 lines, repeat. But Guideline has 7 bags, so it's not trivial.
I find this kind of hilarious because the almost perfectly random piece generation in NES Tetris normally plagues players in standard games because it can give you long droughts of important pieces. But in this proof, random piece generation is a boon because theoretically you could just get perfect luck for all the ideal pieces indefinitely. For modern Guideline versions, 7-bag guarantees that all the pieces will be given within sets of 7, meaning that not only would Kirby have to figure out how to accommodate every piece, including the awkward ones, she wouldn't have any chance of getting extra of the more helpful ones.
It's gonna be a tricky proof, but I think it can be done. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna find some like loop of 35 or maybe 70 pieces if there's some weird parity problem that obeys 7-bag and perfect clears. And the idea is, theoretically, you just get these 70 pieces repeating over and over.
And wouldn't you know it, shortly after we recorded the interview, Kirby finished her proof, publishing a 70-piece sequence that gives a perfect clear using 10 bags of all 7 pieces. This wouldn't necessarily be a guide that someone could follow, since you'd still need to get the pieces in the right order within the bags, but it does prove that theoretically it's possible. But back to the race to 30 lines. With 4 players in a dead heat, anything seemed possible. So I figured I might as well throw my hat into the ring and started live streaming attempts to break the record myself. But shortly after I started, someone in chat alerted me to the news.
Hey, Coster says 31 lines now. Did somebody get 31 lines? Hydrant Dude says 31 lines, world record. Congratulations, Hydrant Dude.
Hydrant Dude had fulfilled his claim and didn't seem to want to ever play this mode again. His retirement from no rotation seemed to settle things again. But one player did not give up. 2 days later, Zoltan burst through again to set what will become the current world record at a staggering 35 lines. As commenter Martin Jacob noted, in the span of 4 days, almost 46% had been added to the world record. And Zoltan went on to accomplish a ton more with no rotation, including clearing B-type 1-1, getting 5 lines on a 29 start, and getting 20 lines or more 100 times. So I reached out to Zoltan to figure out more about how he'd done all this. When did you decide to start grinding for the no rotation world records?
Just after you uploaded the video about the no rotations, I was like, okay, it's only 24, I will give it a shot. So on the really next day, I downloaded Messen and okay, I will just, try it out. And on my 3rd try, I actually set the record and I got 24, but I wasn't recording it. So I was like, okay, now it's time to get an OBS and start grinding it.
Hate it when that happens. Trying to break a world record in something, get it on the 3rd try, don't have a way to record it, so just do it again. No big deal. So after all these attempts, I was curious if Zoltan had figured out any optimal strategies.
Yes, definitely. There are lots of strategies that actually I discovered and I'm actually using. So first of all, you have to fill both sides of your playing screen, because if there are holes on the left side or there are holes on the right side, you cannot fill them only with a J or an L. The same goes if it's too wide, you will need an S or a Z or a square, and so on and so on. So if they are filled, there are so much piece combinations that can help you, but on the sides there are only like 1 or 2, so that is really bad if you want to get high scores. Also, I realized, because it's really slow, like on level 1, level 2, you can tuck everything, like even 3 tucks or 2 tucks, you can do it. That's like counterintuitive, but when you see it, you will realize, like, think about stacking 2 L's on the left. If you do it, you can tuck actually 2 times a J, and there will be like a perfect chance to clear those lines. Also, there is one more specific strategies. With a T, a J, or an L, you will create an awkward hole on the first line if it's like from the beginning, like at the start. And that line you have to like discard, because if you actually try to clear that line, it's just going to ruin everything. You will get really dependent on lines, squares, and S's and Z's. So like every second line, you should just discard it if you don't feel confident that you will get those pieces.
You've probably played this mode more than just about anybody. What do you think is the feasible limit to how many lines someone could get on this mode?
I think I played around, I don't know, 1,000 or maybe 1,500 games, something like in between those numbers. And I think 35 is really challenging to beat. I'm trying it like a week from now, and I only got a 31 in the last week. So I don't think that 40 is going to be beaten really soon, but I think 40 is possible. So if you get really lucky with the pieces and you make correct decisions, I'm pretty sure that you can get 40.
So who will be the first to get 40 lines? Zoltan is giving it his best shot, and you might be able to see him do it live.
I've already joined Twitch. I started to stream. Unfortunately, my laptop isn't that good, but I'm buying actually a new PC, and I will make it in a much better quality.
So Zoltan's Twitch page will be in the description if you want to check it out. Whoever ends up holding the record in the future, I'll be fascinated to see how it happens. Thanks again to Kirby, Hannah, and Zoltan for coming on for an interview, and I'll see you guys next week.